Hello, everyone. I'm Noah, and welcome to The Beauty I See, a space where stillness meets wonder and where the smallest gestures become something sacred. Today's episode is titled The Feeling Between Notes. It's about music, but not just music. It's about memory, movement, and the quiet spaces that hold us when words fall short. So wherever you are, driving, walking, resting, take this moment with me. Let's step into the silence between sounds and listen to what it's been trying to say. Let's begin. I've been meaning to write for days now, but right now, at this exact moment, I'm sitting with a song playing on repeat. The Sun's Gone Dim and the Skies Turned Black by Jóhann Jóhannsson. It's moving through me. As the piano stretches into silence and sound, something begins to form. The words are arriving as I hear them, as I feel them. They're not polished, just honest. This began when I went back to November by Max Richter, when I watched Mari Samuelsson's performance again, her bow gliding, her body bending, her orchestra leaning in like breath. Something stirred. And now, I'm here, writing what rises, letting music lead. I'm not a musician, I don't sing, unless you count karaoke where I sound like a joyful bullhorn. I've never played an instrument, but I feel music, and sometimes I wonder if that's its own kind of understanding. I've stood in music shops asking, is there a keyboard that can just teach me a song? Just one. Not to become a pianist, but to learn a moment, a melody, a memory. They told me those gadgets were toys, not instruments. Maybe. But to someone like me, they feel like a doorway. Because music for me has never been about mastery, it's about connection. In a performance of November, Mari Samuelsson becomes more than a player. She becomes the music. Her fingers move like river dancers across strings. Her elbow lifts and lowers with precision. Her shoulder responds in subtle choreography. Her wrist tilts with every shift in pitch. The bow glides like breath, whispering sound into being. Around her, the orchestra is alive, seated, but not still. Each musician carries their own pulse, their own quiet urgency. The cellists lean into their instruments. A flutist closes her eyes as if to better hear what cannot be heard. Their expressions hold 1,000 quiet stories. There's unity in the room. Bodies curved into wood and string, breaths sync not with each other, but with something larger. They move not in isolation, but as limbs of one great body. Notes rise not only from fingers, but from posture, from memory, from trust. The conductor, center stage, draws shapes in the air that only they can read. And yet, everyone understands. A lift of the hand, a pause in the wrist, and something in the music changes. Inside the piano, a secret unfolds. A single key is pressed. Beneath it, a hammer lifts. It strikes a string wrapped in silence, and that silence breaks into tone. One after another, the hammers rise and fall like breath. Sound emerges, not in chaos, but in conversation. Felt-covered wood meets metal. Tension releases into resonance. The listener never sees this, but the sound knows where it came from. There's rhythm in the mechanism, a grace to the motion, a story hidden in each repetition. What begins as touch becomes vibration. What begins as vibration becomes music. Notes, once released, drift into the air like memory. A trembling string can summon sorrow. A soft chord can call back joy. A quiet shift in tone can close the distance between now and then. Sometimes a song fills a room the same way grief does. Sudden, full-bodied, uninvited. Sometimes it wraps itself around you with the gentleness of first love. A melody carries the weight of what was never said. A harmony holds what was lost. A dissonance reminds you of what changed too fast, and then, without warning, something lifts. The ache leans into awe. A passage opens that wasn't there before, and even if you've heard it 100 times, this time it lands differently. The line between listener and instrument fades. The body of the violinist becomes the arc of the music. The bow becomes breath. The orchestra becomes shadow and light. The piano becomes memory. Mechanics turn to meaning. No instruction is given, but still, something in you responds. You see the fingers move. You feel the shoulders strain and soften. You imagine the grip tightening, the release. The movement becomes audible in your bones, though no one has spoken. And watching it, truly watching it, was its own kind of wonder. To see the human body become the instrument, to witness fingers dancing across strings, elbows rising and falling with silent command, shoulders leaning into the shape of sound, it was beautiful. Not just the music, but the way these artists carried it. the way each body seemed to know its purpose, to create something out of tension and touch, memory and motion. There's something majestic about that, something sacred. To see a person in motion, creating something that didn't exist a moment before, and to realize this too is the beauty I see. The song plays again, and without permission or warning, something opens: memory, motion, meaning, a rhythm behind the breath, a stillness shaped by sound. And in the quiet that follows, I become. With reverence and gratitude to the artists who inspired this reflection: Jóhann Jóhannsson, The Sun's Gone Dim and the Skies Turned Black; Max Richter, November; Mari Samuelsson, Performance of November. Thank you for spending this moment with me. If this reflection resonated, may it linger like a soft note held just long enough to be felt. May it remind you that beauty doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it hums beneath the surface, waiting to be seen, heard, or simply felt. Until next time, keep listening, keep feeling, and keep finding the beauty in all the in-between spaces. Take care, Noah Blake.